documentary with Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection Episode 2. So we'll wait a bit, check a few things out before we get started, and it'll be about an hour or so. So if you can stick around, smash that like button, do all those good things, appreciate it. Before you guys leave, if you're popping in and out, smash that like button, please. That'll be good. Let's see what's going on. I'll share this out real quick. It's one of the chat box. Hello to you. Thanks for coming along to the stream. Hit the like button. See who's in the chat box. There's Bryce Gardner in there and Miss Nay. Hey, what's up, guys? Like it, man. Like it. Push that like button, please, guys. It's for the algorithms. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do. It's all for free. It's all good, you know. Like and share, clear. Thank you very much, Miss Nay. Nay. Thank you. We're going to be checking out another chapter in the documentary. We'll wait for more to come back up in here. Share it out, Bryce. How you going, man? How you going, brother? Can you hear me properly? Can you just say yes in the chat box there if you can hear me properly? Just say yes. How am I? I'm very good, man. I'm really good. Thank you. Really good. Just waiting for a few more people to come up before we start this documentary. Just have a look around. Episode 2, man. Episode 2. What's going on with you, Bryce? What you been up to, bro? What you been up to, bro? Smash that like button, eh? Make a little shout out to Bryce. What you been up to, bro? Not much? Okay, not much. You been keeping up with the play with Karen? What's the hits with Karen these days? I haven't heard much from her the last few weeks. Yeah. Haven't done much, man. Myself, I've just been, you know, same old, man. Every day, work, game, chill out. Cheer it up, brother. We're just gonna kick it before we start. About 3 up in here. Appreciate you guys. They share it. You've shared it. Nice, cool. I hope people come. But wait too long before we get started, guys. It's cool. It's cool to be back doing live streams for a little bit for some content chuck up on the channel. With some Mortal Kombat stuff, so it's good. It's really good. Indie. Cool. Got 4 up in here. Who else is up in here, man? Who else is up in here? Hope my darling comes in and says hi. Goro. and I miss playing MK, man. We'll get into some gameplay, but first, like I said, we're if you haven't checked the other one out, the first chapter, episode 1, sorry, is we did that yesterday, so go and check that video out. It's the upload from yesterday, live stream, so go and check that one out so you can get up to par with what we're doing. This is episode 2, so we're going to end up going back to where we left off, stopped, and so we'll go back and get straight back into it. So, okay, we'll get started, guys, because my day's getting on, and won't be streaming for that long, an hour or so. Where were we? Here we are. No, thank you. Just smash that like button, man, if you're gonna go and stuff like that. I appreciate coming along. Just smash that like button before you go and share it. Appreciate that. Bryce, you could do that as well. Cool, man. So, this is where we're at. We're at, we're over here. Now, we're right here. Factory floor. I think this one is right here. Ed Boone. Ed and John, hatch a plan. While Ed was programming a high impact and John was working on Total Carnage, the two of them started swapping ideas for a fighting game featuring large digitized characters. Let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it.
At that point, John was finishing Total Carnage and I was finishing Super High Impact.
I eat quarterback for breakfast!
When we started to talk about what would become Mortal Kombat, I think the initial conversation was about, hey, wouldn't it be cool to do a one-on-one fighting game?
John and I were talking about a game called Street Fighter, who had really big characters. The thing that stood out for us about Street Fighter was they had really big characters on the screen.
I think for me it was anything to get away from the little tiny character sprites that I had done in the last 2 games.
And we were saying, how cool would it be to have our digitized characters?
Street Fighter was kind of fantastical, hand animation, beautiful stuff, but their vision was, let's take this photorealistic system we have now and have a photorealistic fighting game.
For me, it was all this inspiration from all the kung fu films that I grew up watching and kind of throwing it into a game.
And at some point just fixated on the idea of doing a photorealistic Van Damme fighting game. And we put a presentation together when we gave it to Roger Sharp.
We're thinking of Jean-Claude Van Damme. Let's see if he's interested.
The reason we made a video to pitch to Jean-Claude Van Damme was because another team at Midway had done the same thing
thank you very
with,
much.
Terminator arcade game as well as Revolution X to Aerosmith. And so we decided just to go that route because they were having success with doing that. We found the movie Bloodsport, and we basically grabbed a number of frames of him just kind of getting into a fighting stance pose, and we put the power bars and we kind of mocked up what a generic fighting game screen. And again, just to give him the idea.
It wasn't a no. Whether or not things John and Ed thought, Roger, just forget it.
Because Fighter was really big, and when we said we want to do a fighting game like this with our graphics, there wasn't much convincing that needed to be done.
I thought it was a fantastic idea, and I knew that I had to still finish Total Carnage, and I know Ed was still working on High Impact.
Touchdown!
But I think that was the beginning of the conversation.
Maybe our next game could be this fighting game.
The fearsome foursome development teams at Midway were quite small but extremely passionate. The core team that brought Mortal Kombat to life was 4 people: Ed Boon, John Tobias, John Vogel, and Dan Forden. Now let's go.
Team on Mortal Kombat 1 was 4 of us.
My name is Ed Boon. I'm co-designer and programmer. My name's Dan Forden, and I do sound and music. John Vogel, background special effects. John Tobias, and co-designer and lead artist.
There was other sort of support staff, but that had to do more with like the cabinet and the wiring.
A team being composed of, I think, 4, 5, 6 people was not uncommon.
You were in one of 2 categories:
Hey,
programmer
Ona G is here. Thank you, Ona G. Just like it
or artist, and that was basically it.
before you go, because you guys
felt like, being in a
a
rock
quick
band
smart
or
just
something.
like
There's
it before you leave.
Very few number of
share it
guys.
out.
He's
Ona G,
guitar,
thank
he's
you.
drum, he's we all had our own jobs to do, and we'd fight with each other, and we'd hang out with each other and go see
How
movies
you,
with each
Anna?
other and stuff. And
Certainly when I started working on Smash TV, it was myself, Mark Turmel, and I think there was maybe one other programmer at the time, and then Eugene Jarvis eventually came on.
Partly it was just the simplicity of the games of that era. 8-bit, pixel art, that a lot of the animation was just done with graph paper. Say Defender, all the animations of that game could be done in a week.
a lot of people think that somebody up high says you're going to make a fighting game and you're going to call it Mortal Kombat and it's going to look like this, and then we go okay and do it. That's not how it worked at all.
It's a bit of the Wild West. There wasn't rules.
Like
There
in
wasn't
Shed,
any,
think you?
Well, this is how you make a video game. Everybody made it differently, and as long as cool new stuff was showing up on your screen every once in a while, management would, peek their head in. Oh, you got fatalities going. Good job. And then they'd leave, and you just continue with it.
Sonya, win.
It was so pure. You didn't have to, have a committee meeting every time you wanted to add a feature. And
Things were so loose back then. There wasn't really a workflow. It was like, hey, we need to get something done. Just do it.
it was just like, yeah, let's try this out, and see if it works.
And I think maybe a part of it was also that I wasn't conscious of might have been to keep costs down. I know what my salary was at the time. I don't know what Ed's salary was, but I have to believe that the development of MK in terms of the cost of us had to have been, I don't know, not much. And I remember at the end of my first year working at Midway, I was doing my taxes. My dad was helping me do my taxes. When I started at Williams, I was making $19,000 a year. He knew the hours I was putting in, and we did the math, and I was making probably $2 an hour is what I was making working at Williams, and I didn't care. I loved the work so much.
I know it's not a popular topic, but the overnighters and the going out for breakfast, nobody told us to do that. Nobody said stay till midnight tonight. If anything, they were, you guys are burning yourselves out, and you gotta take it easy or something. So.
Because of the schedules and because of how few people there were, and we were all playing multiple roles, wore multiple hats, that there was just too much work. And it wasn't like we were being made to do this. It was an art, it was a craft, and it was a labor of love. So we were so passionate that we spent, all of our waking hours and our sleeping hours in the studio.
Some people look back and they go, oh, that was that was abuse or something like that. It's like, no, we were guys in our 20s who were motivated to do something cool. You were working on Liu Kang's, flying kick, and it was feeling good, and you wanted to keep perfecting it, and it was my obsession. It was like being paid to do a hobby. If a band is up all night learning a song, they want to nail it, and it's the exact same thing. It's completely self-motivated.
Back then, it was nothing but fun. It was just, working there was just hilarious. Well, the secret sauce was basically we were just a bunch of knuckleheads doing whatever we wanted, and we were happy.
These are the drawings of it, John Tobias. He's awesome. These are the excuse me. These are the drawings. So I think that's one in Liu Kang. Character of Liu Kang out. Minamoto, a master martial artist named after a real-life samurai warrior. Character later evolved into a Shaolin monk for their time. Some characters would not appear until later games. Soon would become Katana in MK2, while elements of Striker would inform both Sonya and Jax. A different form of Striker would eventually appear in Mortal Kombat 3. You boys get it. Designing the legends to make sure that the characters stood out from each other on screen. The Midway team learned into bold colors and simple shapes.
My job on MK1 was basically to do backgrounds. Like John would do characters and I would do the backgrounds. Things were very simple back then, you know, like.
One more time.
He would choose which frames he wanted to use and then cut the background away from the characters, and that was his job, you know.
Literally after we shot the footage, I think maybe that night or the next day, I started stripping frames right away. We did a lot of playing around with lighting. We were just sort of discovering. I think we probably taped more than we needed just to make sure that we got enough coverage.
I remember after the Sonya's leg grab, having to say something along the lines of, you know, trust us, it's going to be really cool. The image was clear in my head. Sometimes we forget that it's not inside everybody's head.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, now once from the middle, all you have to do is just land right there.
Must have been very demanding. That's what he's trying to say.
She should do it from the stance.
Right.
We were trying to get a film-like quality, but we wanted to just amp it up a little bit. And once we realized that pumping up colors really attracted people to our games, that was, you know, also our trademark.
A lot of the character design that I did for Mortal Kombat was based on the limitations of the hardware. So I knew that we had a limited color palette that we could work with. I knew that you know, the pixel resolution kind of restricted what we were capable of doing. So bold colors, simple shapes would distinguish one character from another would be important. And I knew that a color palette that would distinguish one character from another was also important. And I was careful not to repeat those things.
You know, the thing about the ninjas was, you know, the nature of them. As you know, there were palette swaps of each other. It was all to save memory. You know, it was a very precious thing in our arcade games. And so, Scorpion and Sub-Zero, they were the same character with different colors. You know, John wrote this amazing backstory behind them, making them enemies, and that added to the mystique of the characters.
Yeah, just awesome what these guys did, man, back in the day.
In one of the pages of my notebook, I had scribbled, okay, here are the characters and here are their archetypes. I knew that, well, we need a hero, we need a villain, we need a sidekick, we need all these things. I was a big Joseph Campbell fan. I had read his books and I was aware of the hero's journey and the character archetypes that he had sort of outlined. I thought, okay, well, if we could tell implicit story through character archetypes, the players might sort of almost subconsciously relate to the characters in a particular way. So that played a part in sort of the character choices we made. I don't recall exactly why we did some characters and not others. I know that we were limited with the number of characters we could do. A few of them I remember not using. One of them was a character called Minamoto Yoshitsune. It was based on a Japanese mythological character. And another one was called Rakuro, who was based on, I think, a Japanese mythological beasts. Those two characters didn't make it in. I think part of it was because the names became a big deal for us. It's like, you know, how does this name roll off the tongue? you know, if a name was too long, we knew it was going to be difficult to display on the health meters. It was usually silly things like that would play a part in some of the choices we made.
Most of the characters' names came from John Tobias. A couple of the characters, he didn't have a name written down for them. He had Ninja 1 and Ninja 2. I was a little bit more of like a simple superhero mindset, so I started calling them Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Those simple names were kind of like my influence, but the authentic, cool names, Goro, Shang Tsung, Kano, Raiden, you know, that was John's deal.
For Mortal Kombat 1, there wasn't a lot in the way of concept art that we did. Conceptualization was just limited to just scribblings in a notepad.
I don't remember many, if any, drawings of backgrounds, but there may have been some. I just remember kind of like I said, just winging it and doing whatever. Like John would say, I'd like a dungeon or something, and that became Goro's lair, you know.
Brad,
I had already learned how to do the parallax
Brad,
scrolling
if you go on my
stuff
channel,
from Terminator 2.
you'll see the
so
you'll see the
that worked
first
out
one
well
there.
with doing parallax stuff for Mortal Kombat as well. I know there was one specific
So if you
background
wanna go
that
back
you
and,
wanted, that was with statues. The
check
statue
that out. It's only like 30 odd minutes, so you can check that one out first, and then
just
you'll
make
be
something
up
look
to-
cool. That was basically
up to
the
date.
rule. I went to Chinatown, and just to get references and stuff, there would be, you know, an interesting vase, and I would video that vase, and then I use that, and that's Shang Tsung's one of Shang Tsung's thrones is like the vase, you know. There's the dragon that was sitting on Ken Fedesna's desk. I just said, hey, can I video that? And he's like, cool. So I grabbed it off his desk, took it to my office, and
thanks for
that's like
joining
one of
the
the
stream.
backgrounds, and there's two of
If you,
them. You know, and then there's
subscribe,
the
that'll be,
pagoda
greatly appreciated.
in Chinatown that I
And,
videoed
like
that and used
the,
that as
videos
you
and
know,
check out the content.
courtyard,
Cool.
I guess we call it. I think. You know, Shang Tsung is also in another chair, and it's that big roof thing. That's from Chicago. That's from Chinatown. So sometimes it meant opening a book and going, oh, that's a cool Chinese thing. You know, get the camera, take video of it, and use that. There are things from books in Mortal Kombat 1. You know, I just went out and grabbed stuff. What looks cool? Kind of a guerrilla artsy sort of way. It wasn't really planned all that much back then.
Okay. These are cool. These are little like models. Capture models they use. These are awesome. This is for stop capture. Capture motion kind of thing. So, okay. Perfecting the feel. Thanks to internal playtesting, many of the key features were suggested, created, and tested in very short order, from exaggerated uppercuts to the infamous finishing moves. Rapid iteration was the key to finding out what worked.
One of the really cool things about Mortal Kombat and about some of the really great games, if you have a really great winning concept, often, you know, they got that game running in like a month. A lot of modern games, it seems like they spend all their time in this graphical wilderness trying to get everything looking so cool, and then they've got like 3 weeks left to figure out what the game is.
We had a very fast iteration. I would get art from John, you know, we put it in, and an hour later we were playing it.
Raiden wins.
The first time you play it, you just go, this is incredible. You knew you were on the right course.
Ed was like just eager to have people in and give him feedback on stuff.
A lot of times it was just, you know, someone, you'd have someone in your office to look at something and they go, hey, what about this? And then, you know, maybe that's a good idea.
Ideas could come and be turned into reality in the same day.
Yeah,
basically.
in fact, I remember we would record a little bit of footage.
Okay, one more time. All right, that's good.
And it wasn't until Ed actually got the frames and could get them in the game, not until that point would we know that we were making the right choices.
When we were making this game, Street Fighter II was the big rage, and I was a huge admirer of that game. At the same time, I felt like there was a little bit more ceiling room in terms of how outrageous you can get with the moves. We wanted characters using magic, disappearing, teleporting, doing all these kind of unpredictable things. And a lot of the moves were constructed from kind of almost like scraps.
Thank you,
Kano's
Nate.
ball
Thank you.
was from his flipping animation. Scorpion's teleport was from his jump punch animation.
You know, Scorpion throwing a spear and pulling somebody in, that, you know.
It was something that I remember I thought of that was just an outrageous move that wasn't seen in any other fighting game.
Troy Beck, hey man, what's up, man? I'm good, thanks. Very good. Smash the like button, bro. Number 7, sweet. Share it out, bro.
It was one of those spur of the moment, inspirational ideas that ended up becoming like very signature, very iconic to Mortal Kombat.
The way he was implementing them was so interesting because he uses the frames of animation, and he was, as a programmer, would move them around to do things. Like he would define like how things animated across the screen.
When we did the Liu Kang flying kick, you got to stop him once he makes contact, and it'll make the impact feel like it's a lot more intense and more forceful. Iterating again and again how important it is that we get the timing of all these things correct.
Other than, you know, how John would define what the actual frames of animation were, Ed defined how things moved around.
There's little nuances that are put into the game that a lot of players don't identify, but they just know that it feels good, and they're not sure why.
I think that was a hard lesson to learn back in the day of, hey, I want this animation to be really smooth, and I want it to be like 100 frames. And it's like, no, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. And it has to feel good.
Like, it's got to have impact. Impact and drama. You know, that's what people are going to respond to.
Doing a live stream, right?
Get over here, you know, the uppercut was such a big, ridiculous reaction.
Getting the animation of the character launch him into the air,
coming in,
putting the blood on it.
Stick around.
Being knocked down, and
they shake the screen.
Awesome.
And the sound call that Dan Ford
Really some more in
It's
there.
like, no, we need like a really big sound for a hit. It's like, okay, so I made like a really big sound for a hit. The scream of the attacker. The victim, you know, yelling as he flies away. Put all that stuff together, it's like boom. It's like, oh my God.
I remember we were just walking around just doing uppercuts again and again and going, you know, God, that feels so good. That feels so good.
That's how people knew when something was cool in any game. People would be like, holy smokes. And now you know you have something. And then, so that, and then the fatality.
Like, fatalities were the big thing that made us a hit.
Sure did. Okay, you've got 3 videos here. Okay, get over here. During Scorpion's performance capture, Ed Boon exclaims, you know what would be a cool ass move? In the shot, this idea for Scorpion to throw a projectile at opponents using a rope to reel them in. Here, Ed and John Tobias offer direction and demonstration for the attack they intend to create. Okay.
One more time. All right, that's cool. This is that was cool, dude. What was that? Stuck into the other guy. And drag him across the Didn't you say?
Right, although we usually try to do the wind up and throw is usually like 5 frames maybe. Like if you went like that.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe something more like you do like this, because you know what I'll do? I'll like trail the rope.
Right. Can you make where you throw the plane like I want the thing to hit the guy in the chest, you know? Because we have a bunch of frames and we use that as a drag. So when you stop, your arm is parallel with your chest as opposed to way down here.
Okay, so try to do it chest level. A little bit more of a wind up. And that would be alright, because I could do like a little thing with the rope, more like this, like a little snake thing. Oh, you know what? Wait, you know what we should do? After he does that, we should have him do.
I think he has to like.
Yeah, okay. So, do the throw, and then we need some kind of throw back.
Pull your hands together and do that.
Okay. Yeah.
When you try to wind up with a little more like right now you're kind of just going.
Salamat. Sige, kanta. Energy.
What we should do?
What?
Is if we had 2 stance frames for him.
Okay.
One for the old guy, and it'll cost us 7 frames, but it'll just make it.
This is awesome. This is awesome right here.
It'll have